are like right in the eyes so you can see me. They were asking about the party, weren't they? They were talking talking about Tiffany, Rab being there, and Diddy. Was Diddy there? Did you see any interactions with Cassie and Mr. Combs at the karaoke bar? Yes. Were they getting along? Yes. Oh, sorry, at the beginning. Did that change? Yes. What did you observe? They were fighting. Who was them at the time? Just them and the security guards. Did you see Cassie during the fight? When I couldn't see a lot. But in between the security guards occasionally. I see. So they were sort of brawling. Next thing, bumping into the security have stopped it. And how did Cassie appear from what you could see? She just seemed upset. Where did you go after the karaoke bar? To her apartment. To whose apartment? Cassie's. I shouldn't have put that on there. I can't even see. Cassie's. What, if anything, did Cassie do at her apartment? She was just getting ready with Dante to leave. And what were she and Donna going? Just packing her bag. What did Cassie do after her bag was packed? She left. Did you see where she went? I did not see where she went. Mrs. Bongolan, before we move on, did you receive a subpoena? We got to this bit, didn't we, guys? Requiring you to testify. Yes. And is there also an order compelling you to testify, even though your testimony, Knight, incriminates yourself? Yes. And she meaning answer yes. What is your understanding of what that order requires you to do? Just be truthful. And what is your understanding of the protections you get under this order if you are truthful? That I won't get in trouble. Does this order protect you if you intentionally make a false statement today? No. Intentionally. In other words, can you still be prosecuted for perjury if you lie? Yes. Next, I want to talk about some of your interactions with Mr. Combs. Were there ever times that Mr. Combs provided you with rugs? Yes. About how many times? A few, maybe, like 3 or 4. What rugs did he provide you? He Charlie and K and G. You mentioned G. What is that? I don't completely, because I'm not like an avid user, but I believe it stems from GHB. Were there any drugs that you had not done before Mr. Combs provided them to you? Answer G. Did you see Mr. Combs do any rugs himself? Yes. Approximately how many times? Just a few. I have this like feeling he did a lot of drugs, you know, that type of lifestyle. It just surprises me because I don't know how often around she was to him. How often, say, per month? I would say weekly. Did the frequency change over time at all? Yes. How did it change? Just when we were around each other, that's when the frequency would change, she's saying. Did it become more or less over time? She answers more. And what kinds of rugs did you and Cassie use together? Herb, Charlie, Kay. Question, where did those rugs come from? I would have them. She would have them. How often did you get rugs for Cassie? Often. Wow. So she only seen Combs with him compared to Cassie, I feel. What kinds of rugs did you get for those oxy pills and C, and sometimes K? Question, did Cassie pay you for these rugs? Yes. Did you ever get rugs for Mr. Combs? Yes. How many times? A few. What did you get? E and K and G. Is that what you get for Mr. Combs? No. What was there ever a time where you got rugs for Mr. Combs? Just once. What did you get him on that occasion, Charlie? You had just mentioned a few rugs there. July, so that's a lot of drugs. K, G, E, and those rugs that Mr. Combs had given you? And she says yes. Were you selling rugs to other people? Not often, but yes. Were there ever times that you and Cassie tried to stop doing rugs? Yes. Why did you want to stop doing rugs? Because we wanted to do better. What would you do together instead of doing rugs? We would try to cook. What would you cook? Yeah, she says. Would these periods of sobriety ever last? No. Why not? It was hard to get sober if, there's a lot of rugs around. Okay. I want to shift the topics Now, Mr. Bongolan, has Mr. Combs ever threatened you? She answers yes. Mr. Miser, Miss Gavin, could we please pull up as marked for identifications as government exhibit 3S105. Do you recognise this? Yes. What is it? A picture of took a best friend I had at the time, and Cassie. And how do you know? Because I took the picture. Is it fair and accurate representation from the photo shoot? Yes. Mr. Miser, Your Honour, the government offers government exhibit 3S105. Miss Westmoreland, no objection. The court will be admitted. Exhibit 3S105 received in evidence. Mr. Miser, Miss Gavin, could you please display this for the jury? Miss Bongolan, could you explain where this photo was taken? Yes, it's in Malibu. Approximately when was this photo taken? Early 2016. And the date here is April 24th, 2016. Is that approximately correct? Yes. You said you took the photo. Yes. Who is in the photo? This photographer that goes by Bad Boy, but with an eye and question. So this photographer, Bad Boy, do you know if he has shy relation to Bad Boys or Bad Boy Entertainment? No, it was just his name. And why were you all on the beach that day? Well, we just thought it was cool. His name was Bad Boy, and he happened to be a good friend of mine. Just make some art. Was Mr. Combs there? Not at the photo shoot, but in the house. And where is the house located? Like, you could say that's the backyard, but it's just the beach, so in front of it. So is the house close to the beach? Yes. In what city? California. What, if any, interaction did you have with Mr. Combs the day of the shoot? He came up to me and said some stuff. What did he say to you? He came up really close to my face and said something on the lines like, I'm the devil and I could kill you. Had Mr. Combs ever said anything like that to you before? No. Yeah, it's so sore today. Did you have any understanding of why he was saying that? No. Question, did Mr. Combs appear high to you? I couldn't tell. Were you taking drugs at the time? I probably was. And what were you likely taking? C. Charlie. Question, how did you react to this threat? I was terrified, but because of the sea, I had a little confidence just to brush it off. And did you continue to see Mr. Combs after that? Yes. Why? I honestly don't know. Did you continue to hang out with Cassie after Mr. Combs made that threat? Yes. Why? Our friendship, but I don't know. Miss Bongolan, before your testimony today, have you met with the government? Yes. Do you remember if you told the prosecutors about this threat in your first meeting? Answer, I don't remember. So she doesn't remember telling the government. She doesn't remember. Miss Westmoreland, objection? Sustained. Miss Bongolan, does this threat stick out in your mind? Yes. What were the circumstances of your first meeting with the government? Could you explain that? Yes. What was your understanding of what the purpose of your first meeting with the government would be? I thought it would be like a meet and greet, like, hey, like, oh dear. Hey girl, how are you, girl? Yeah, I have that attitude, but if it's something that serious, you gotta be prepared. I mean, did you understand you'd have to talk about the details of the every event? Not fully. Oh, so she has to talk it all through with them. My leg's going stiff. Miss Samiza, Your Honour, I'm about to enter a new topic. We could stop here, or I could continue going the course. Let's take a break for lunch. Thank you, members of the jury. I will give you the same instructions as I always do. Don't look up anything about the case and don't talk to anyone about the case. And then the back on the record now. Witness not present. The court, please be seated. Anything to address before we take our lunch break? Apparently from the government. Anything from the government. Miss Samiza, no, Your Honour. The cause, anything from the defence? Mr. Agnifilo, 1 second, Judge. Nothing, Judge. The cause, so we'll try and be back for 1 p.m. so we can get started shortly after 1 p.m. Mr. Miser, you may proceed when ready. Mr. Miser, thank you, Your Honour. Miss Bongolan, without telling me what Rod said to you, what, if anything, did Mr. Holliday say about who was calling on behalf of Puff? And what, if any, topic did Mr. Holliday say he was authorised to talk about? He was trying to talk about settling with me. And what, if any, offer as he authorised to talk to you about? Miss Westmoreland's objection, court sustained. All right, Miss Nice says. What did Rob say about what he could talk with you about on behalf of Mr. Combs. Miss Westmoreland, objection, court was sustained. Must be juicy. Did, question, Miss Bongolan, did what, if any, offer did Mr. Combs, did Mr. Holliday convey to you? Miss Westmoreland, objection, sustained. And how did you feel during the call? I declined what was offered to me because I felt like Miss Westmoreland, objection, non-responsive, that's sustained. After the call was done, how did you react? The court, Miss Miser, I'm going to ask you to move on at this point unless you're prepared to ask some of the foundational questions that we had discussed at the sidebar. Mr. Miser, thank you, Your Honour. Question, when was the next time you spoke to Mr. Holliday after the phone call? We never talked again. Are you friends anymore? No. Question, at some point after talking to Rob, so, is that Rob or Rod? Rob. Did the attorney have now assist you in filing a lawsuit against Mr. Combs? Answer, sorry. Could you say that again? At some point after talking to Rob, did the attorney you have any assist you in the filing another in freaking hell? At some point after talking to Rob, did the attorney you have now assist you in filing another, and then in dash, I don't think she was meant, assist you in filing a lawsuit against Mr. Combs? She said yes. When she said another, it's a bit of a slip, isn't it? Did she have more than one lawsuit? Yes. Approximately how long after? Maybe like a month or two. What was your lawsuit based on? The balcony incident. Okay. Mr. Miser, Your Honour, could we have another brief sidebar? Court, yes. Miss Comey, so Your Honour, I think the foundation has been laid for 801, a statement that was made by a person whom the party authorised to take a statement on the subject. This witness has now testified that Mr. Holliday told her on the phone that he was calling on behalf of Mr. Combs, ordered to dismiss an offer to settle her case. He has thus said that he is authorised by the defendant to make a statement on that specific subject. I think that is sufficient to lay out the foundation that this comes in order. The court, Miss Westmoreland, Miss Comey, and I'll note that Your Honour can consider hearsay when deciding whether or not that rule has been satisfied and that the threshold has been met. Miss Westmoreland, you took the words right out of my mouth. That's hearsay. That's not enough for the foundation. Miss Comey, Your Honour, when deciding whether the preponderance standard has been met under Rule 104, you may consider hearsay. Miss Westmoreland, Your Honour, I would ask you to decide if the preponderance standard hasn't been met. The court hold on without objection. There was testimony that Mr. Holliday called on behalf of Puff, right? Miss Westmoreland, well, I object up here to that question being asked, and I thought you gave her permission for her to ask the question anyway, so I thought I was overruled on that note, but if I'm wrong, then I'm wrong, because I don't believe overruled any objection you made during the last 5 minutes. Miss Westmoreland, no, I wasn't, I mean that. The court, no, I'm saying that there was no objection to that specific question that was asked. So whether it is hearsay or not, there simply wasn't any objection to that question when it was asked, and the answer was elicited. Okay, let's right. Let's assume for the moment that whether it's hearsay or not, okay. Westmoreland, yes, Your Honour, the court. On that basis, you would agree that the exception that Miss Comey points to would apply, right? Miss Westmoreland, I don't. Miss Shapiro, Your Honour, I don't think we heard the same thing. I don't think the testimony was elicited. The court, okay, I'll take a look, but I understand the exception. Miss Shapiro, I need to take a look at the court. Miss Shapiro, would you agree that to extent that was hearsay, that would be properly admissible then? That can be considered in determining whether the exception has been satisfied. Miss Shapiro, if the hearsay was properly elicited, but if it was hearsay, it wasn't properly elicited because where are the facts of the jury? So I don't agree with that. Miss Conley, Your Honour, if I may note, Miss Shapiro, this isn't a 104 here. Miss Comey, in Rule 104, the court must decide any preliminary question about where a witness is qualified, a privilege exists, or evidence is admissible. That's the question here. In so deciding, the court is not bound by evidence rules except those in privilege. In other words, it doesn't matter whether. The court, you don't need to say any other words. I got you, Miss Shapiro, but that's for a 104 determination. It's not. It doesn't mean it's proper to elicit hearsay in the front of the jury and then make a determination based on that. With the court, that's a separate issue whether there was an objection levelled to that question, which there was not. Because I was there and there was no objection levelled to that question, and that's a separate issue because there was no objection raised. Miss Shapiro, our recollection differs. The court let me take a look at the transcript. Understand, Miss Westmoreland, Your Honour, when you look at the transcript, can you go back to when we were here? Because what I want to say was that when she asked if she could ask the type of questions she could ask and what she could ask, and she was asking that, and I was saying, Your Honour, I object, because you asked me, Miss Westmoreland, would that question be okay? And I was like, Your Honour, no, I object to that line of questioning. So I thought you decided what kind of questions she could ask and went and asked it anyway. But that was over my objection standing. Here is what I was trying to say, which is what I was trying to say. Jesus, it's repeated. Which was the only reason I didn't object here. Miss Conley, a couple of things, Your Honour. My understanding, and then the court, we don't need to have further argument. The court, we will spare you from the white noise for a second. If you hold on a moment, I will review something very quickly and will proceed in a couple of moments. The objection raised at the sidebar continues to be sustained. Miss Samiza, you can move on. By Miss Samiza. Question. So, Miss Bongolan, I think we were just discussing the lawsuit you filed against Mr. Combs. Do you remember that? And answer was yes. Question. And why did you file the lawsuit? Excuse me, my eyes. Hope everyone's enjoying it, listening. I like testimonies better and evidence. I feel like all the text messages will be covered if there were any discrepancies about time and dates. It would be mentioned in court with the phones and things like that. So might have a bit of that coming up. I will read on to page 40 and then I'll come back later on and read some more. Why did you file a lawsuit? Because I wanted to seek justice for what happened to me. And what do you mean when you say what happened to you? On the balcony. Did you write your complaint? No. Question. For a lawsuit? Sorry, no. Question. Who wrote it? My lawyer. And are the words in the complaint, are they the exact same as what you've testified about today? The answer was no. No. Oh dear. Was your testimony today truthful to the best of your knowledge? To the best of your recollection? Yes. Are you aware of how much money is being requested in your suit? Yes. How much? 10 million. Did you come up with that number, or did your lawyer, my lawyer? Do you accept to receive any money from testifying here in this criminal trial today? No. Would you give any potential money back if it meant Mr. Combs had never held you up on that 17th floor balcony. Miss Westmoreland, objection, the court, that's overruled. Answer yes. Miss Miser, Your Honour, may I have just 1 moment? The court, you may. Miss Miser, no further questions. The court, thank you. Cross-examination. Miss Westmoreland, yes, Your Honour. Can you pass one of the prosecution? Can you pass one to the prosecution and one to the witness, please? Mr. Donaldson, Your Honour, may I approach the witness box? The court, you may. Cross-examination by Miss Westmoreland. Good morning. My name is Nicola Westmoreland, and I represent Mr. Combs. I need to ask you some questions, okay? Now on direct, the prosecutor asked you some questions regarding immunity. Yes. Okay, and you testified that that's your understanding, that you have immunity right now, and for your testimony, true? Yes, ma'am. Okay, and you testified that from your understanding, what that means is that you can't be prosecuted for anything that you testify to today, that as long as it's the truth. Is that correct? Could you rephrase that? Question, so sure. You testify that you understand that what immunity means is that you cannot be prosecuted for any crimes that you discussed or testified to today. Yes. That's your understanding, right? Yes. And that's the only way you lose that protection is if you lie. Answer yes. Question, tell me your understanding. Who gets to decide if you're guilty? I'm sorry, lying. The prosecutor. Question, the prosecutor. All right. Miss Bongolan, I want to go back. All right. In time, when you first met Miss Cassie Ventura. Okay? Okay. All right. So so you explained that you were working as young and reckless. Young and reckless, yes. Question, young and reckless, and that's where you first initially met Cassie, true? Answer, we didn't exactly meet. We were just in the same facility. Question, right. So you met her, but you didn't start a relationship yet? Yes. Okay. And you were a graphic designer there? Yes. And at the time, Cassie was a music artist? I believe so. Question, all right, and after Young and Reckless, that's when you started working at Diamond Supply Company? Yes, ma'am. And would it be accurate to say you started working with Diamond Supply Company in 2015? Yes, okay. And I believe you testified that once you started working at Diamond Supply & Co., that's where you and Cassie met, right? Yes. Okay, and you were a graphic designer there? Answer, yes. I was the head woman's designer. You were the head designer. And Cassie was brought on to the company to co-design. Yes. Okay, and your job was to get creative ideas out of Cassie's head. Yes? That's what she says, yes. Oh, okay. And at the time, you were paid about $75,000 for that position. Is that right? Yes. It's your understanding that Cassie was paid more than you, just a little more. Okay, and at that time, Cassie is a music artist, true? I would say so. Question, you would say so. You're not sure? Answer, I wasn't like involved in her world at that time to know. Um, I'll read the end of this. Question, oh, okay. So at the sometime working at Diamonds, it's your understanding that Cassie was a music artist, right? Okay. Yes, she says, and she then asks, so you also understood at some point that she was signed to Bad Boy, right? Yes. So working and coming up with designs with Diamond. That was the second venture for Kathy, true. You want me to rephrase that? Yeah. Okay, Cassie was a music artist, true? Yes. Okay, and Cassie was doing a design company or doing a design, trying to do a clothing line, and she was doing that with you, right? Yes. Okay, so you would agree with me or not, or it would be fair to say, fair to categorize that this, as Cassie had two ventures going on at the same time, right? Yes. Okay. Now you and Cassie are doing this with Diamond Supply Company, right? The line, the clothing line. Yes. Question. And your employer at the clothing line, he made you pretty much the head to deal with everything, Cassie. Agree? Yes. It's a bit strange. I'm going to leave it there for now, guys, and thanks if you've been listening and tuning in. I'm going to be back maybe later today, but I'll send a note to Sal first before I go live anyway. Hope everyone has a lovely weekend if you're not able to watch, and take care.
Oh, it's ice cream.